Welcome to the Why Music podcast, where we talk to independent artists about their journeys, the inspirations behind their music, and ultimately why they make music. This next act is a high energy West Coast based boy band. Forming in 2021, they're an up and coming group that the pop scene didn't know it needed. Welcome the Full Circle Boys.
What's
What's
up?
up?
What an intro. That's probably our best intro we've gotten. That was a
I
good one.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. I would love to, and this will kind of jump around. I'd love to know where your journey with music kind of all began. I don't know who you want to nominate to kick this one off, but I'll let you guys take it from here.
Like individually or okay.
Individually, and we can get into the band and all that, but how did you each kind of find your way into music?
Okay, so for me, we all grew up as dancers. So music has always kind of been something involved in our lives. And I didn't start getting into like singing and stuff until a little bit later in life. I'd say like 16, 17-ish, because that's when I was asked to join this group by this lovely man sitting next to me. Um, I started singing 16, 17-ish. And yeah, I mean, I started singing when I was younger too. Like I would sing around the house, but I didn't really start taking it seriously until a little later in life. But yeah.
Sick. Yeah, I my love for music really started when I was really little. Like before I could even remember, my mom always told me that like whenever a beat would come on in the car, I'd always like bob my head and everything, and I could just find the rhythm of the music very easily. So that's where I really started to like love music. It was kind of just ingrained in me when I was born. But I started singing like around 16, just like James said, when I was asked to be in the band. But I think we all collectively, before we like professionally sang, we all collectively sang before. Like we would all like sing around the house, like James said, everything like that. So, yeah.
Yep. You want me to go?
Yep.
Okay.
Such a random.
Yep. Random. Yeah, music it started to be a big thing for me I remember my sophomore year. I had a really cool friend. His name's Ty. Incredible singer. I remember driving in the car with him and he was just singing along to some of the songs and I was like, dude, you're like really good at singing. Like you should like do something with that. And I just remember like me and him, we had a friend who was in like a little local band that would perform in bars and he's like, you guys should be the opener for us. So I remember I picked up the guitar and I was like, I'm gonna learn all these songs so you can sing them and we'll be like a little duo band. It's gonna be sick. So that's when music was like first a thing for me. But singing didn't cross my mind because I was like, oh, he's already good. I don't need to sing. I'll just let him sing. But then, yeah, Jagger asked me to join the band and then it was like, yeah, I started writing some guitar songs beforehand, before I joined the band. But yeah, singing, yeah, just kind of like the last couple of years.
For me, I think since birth, pretty much, my dad was a drummer in a band. So he was just always banging on the drums. Every video I watched as a kid and movie was, if it wasn't Spider-Man and Batman, it was something about music. Our entire downstairs is like a shrine to rock and roll and the Beatles and all that. So music's just been a big part of my life. And so I think just always been rocking around the Christmas tree, as people would say. And it's just been a part of my life.
Yeah, for me, I grew up in choir and doing musical theater throughout school and growing up in dance at dance school. Music was always all around. And I think collectively, like growing up in the dance world, there wasn't a lot of people that were trying to sing. So I think something unique about all five of us is that we were never shy about trying to sing.
I can't say that I've ever, I mean, I've been doing this podcast for over 90 episodes, and I don't think I've ever had anybody come on here and say, I did dance first, and music just kind of came along with that. So,
Yeah.
That's a story, yeah.
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 Dance first.
How did you guys, so how did the band form? Like, how do you guys all know each other prior to this? Like, what's the origin story there?
So back towards the end of 2020, through my dance studio, I met John and Stacy at High Road Entertainment, and they were thinking about possibly representing me in something along the lines of a music group. And obviously this is the world I come from, so it really kind of happened naturally, calling up James and Jagger, who I'd grown up dancing with at various places, and from there the group kind of chemistry and our dynamic kind of kicked off. And then Jagger grew up with Dawson and Ollie at the dance studio in Utah ever since they were very young, so it was only natural to bring them in, and they added to the dynamic.
Yeah.
And five's the number we're sticking with. No, but no new faces to come.
No, we've kind of cycled out some people. Me, James, and Sean were in the group originally, and there were two other boys, but their hearts weren't in it, and we didn't want to keep them if they didn't want to be around. We just had different wants and needs. Still, all love to those guys, but when it came down to it, we're like, we can't just do it 3. 5's the magic number.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, I was like, Dawson, why don't we like join a band?
Mm-hmm.
Like join the group together. And then it was us 4 for a second, and then we're like, we need that fifth, and we knew Oliver, and our management was asking, they're like, we need another person like Dawson, because Dawson just brought this whole new life and energy to the group that we didn't really have. And then we're like, why don't we ask Oliver to be in the group?
Yeah.
So that's how we got Oliver, and I don't plan on changing anybody out anytime soon. I don't think anybody wants to leave. I don't want to leave. I think this is
Let's bring the hands.
this is the fit. Who wants to get
Bring the hands. Who wants to leave?
We're in it for the long haul.
Yeah,
You're stuck with each other now. Like, it's just, this is just what we're doing now.
Exactly.
Why don't we just hang around for a while?
For
So being that you guys all come from, music, like at least in most cases, dancing being primary, music kind of coming more secondary, what does the creative process look like? Like, how do songs come about? What's the next, how does that whole process look, being that you're from this like dance perspective and the music kind of is like, do you think about it from the approach of like, hey, how can we make this as like dance friendly as possible? Like, what's the inspo? What's the vibe there?
I think when we like get music from other people or we make music, it's more heavily like the beats and the melody, so that we can dance to it rather than like lyrics. Because like lyrics are very important, but for us, it's all about the visuals and like what can we dance to, like what can we make the song come alive to when we dance to, You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody out there?
Yeah, I think to piggyback off of that, like for me at least, when we get sent a demo, not necessarily when I'm writing, when I write music, I'm not necessarily thinking what the dance is going to look like when I'm writing a song, but when we get sent demos, because when we get sent the demos, they're pretty much complete. Like when we write, it's usually on a guitar or something like that, but the beats finish and everything, and we like listen to it, and the first thing that pops into my brain is, how is this going to look dance-wise? Like I don't pay attention to the lyrics or anything. I just pay attention to the beats and like try to figure out, would this look pleasing to dance to? Can we dance to it? Would the dance be good enough to be put on stage? Like a lot of my thought process just goes into the dance because that's where we come from.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah, I mean that like it's all about where your not mindset kind of originates, but where you kind of come from and relate. Like if you have if I've had artists on here that are like, I started a musical theater, and it's like, once you listen to their catalog, it's like I can hear that. And
Yeah.
it's like in your guys' stuff, it's like, okay, I could vibe to this, I could dance to this. Like that's what makes you guys who you are. And that's like, and it just kind of in not an homage, but a like, you know, it goes with your story. You guys are all dancers turned boy band members. And so it would be weird if you guys just started making like piano ballads. You know what I mean? Like it has to, it's the brand. We got to stay on brand. We got to stay with the energy. And, you know, it's upbeat and fun and we're going to dance to it.
Yeah,
Totally.
exactly.
Yeah.
We're not against ballads though.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
if we get a ballad, we'll like
Totally.
we'll hit it, but we haven't gotten that
Might
yet.
slow the dance down a little bit. And, you know, could be a complete 180. Could be a nice surprise for your
Yeah.
audience, you know?
Doing contemporary as well, so we'd smash it. I tell you, that might be our best song ever.
Ballet. We could
Ballet.
do samba. Whatever.
I will say though, if you do, if you guys come out with a ballad anytime soon, I will take a hint of credit for that because I planted the idea here today.
You got it.
Deal.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
cool. On the
Um,
cover from Y Music podcast.
Yes, perfect. Just a little shout out in the corner there. That's all I need. And we have the evidence right here. Like there's no denying it at this point.
Going back now.
So I know you guys like there was kind of some conversation getting the demos versus like stuff that you guys kind of write yourselves. What do you think, you know, what's the main difference in bringing those songs to life, whether it's something that you're kind of given versus something that originates from however many or whoever of the group?
I think the difference is the demos get released once we write. But no, I think we're just very young. We're still trying to figure out our groove, and if a song that we write is really, really good, we'll release it. But yeah, I think the difference is we're not as experienced with the people that we're working with are so extremely talented and so good at what they do that like as of right now, nothing that we do or produce is on that level. Like our most recent single, Call My Name, was produced by DA Got That Dope. And DA Got That Dope works with everybody in the hip hop scene. He just did a song on Beyonce's album, and I'm like, I can't produce like DA Got That Dope. So like, of course I'm gonna pick the DA Got That Dope song over my little 808 beat that I made on Logic. Like, yeah.
So maybe this is the perfect opportunity for you guys to write the ballad that you're going to put out. You know what I mean? Like this could be just slow it down a little bit. Keep it simple, keep it chill. That's where the songwriting is going to thrive. You can get the upbeat stuff somewhere else, but the ballad, I mean, it's kind of coming to life as we speak.
True.
Yeah,
this
that's
is just now a writing session.
Yes, yeah.
No longer
This
a
is
podcast.
yeah, we're just brainstorming here. We're just kind of, you know, getting the wheels turning. One of my favorite questions to ask is if you had to create a new genre around your style of music, what would it be called? This is everybody's least favorite question because it asks you to come up with something that doesn't already exist. What's the category of one?
Wow.
Anyone got any ideas? You look deep in thought.
No ideas.
I don't know. A new genre?
That's such a hard question. Wait, while we're thinking, what's yours? Because I bet you have an answer.
Yeah,
to
we need
this.
some examples.
You want okay. I will give you the little like guiding spiel that I give artists that sit there and are like, why are you asking me this? This is painful to think about. Is I kind of think about it in the way of it's like an equation where it's like you kind of pull your main thing, which in this case would be like your pop or your rock or your hip hop or rap or whatever that like main genre word is. And then you have this like description word that kind of narrows it down further. And so like there's the example that I give is where this question kind of started from, which is a friend of mine, indie pop artist named Daisy. her whole thing is petty pop. And so
Yep.
it's like, it's basically kind of giving description, hinting at the brand, kind of, you know, it takes you from pop to a section of it kind of thing.
Okay.
The one I use for my own stuff is a little bit off of that sort of trajectory. And I say acoustic honesty. Because I thought that has a nice ring to it. I keep everything very acoustic. I always say I like my pianos to sound like pianos and my guitars to sound like guitars. So that's the spiel. Does that help at all?
Right.
I love that acoustic honesty. That's
Yeah.
that's a sick line.
I know Sean has one, so let's hear it, Sean.
Utah dance pop.
That sucked. That was terrible.
There you go.
What's the story there? What's the context that that's giving to the music?
The majority of our circle is Utah.
Okay.
What he
And-
means is 3 of us are from Utah. That's what
Yeah,
he
no,
means.
I gathered that much. I figured it was like 3 or 4 of you.
Yes.
What about Utah Temecula dance jazz pop?
Bro, that's so much better. Okay, someone top that. Go.
This is a great question, and I want to take it seriously because someone.
What?
Because sometimes our music is a bit more R&B influenced, so I'm trying to like figure that out. Like,
Utah R&B.
shut up! Stop throwing Utah in there. Maybe. Oh, I don't know. That's a lame. No, I'm not gonna say that. It's gotta be cool. After you said acoustic honesty, like that's good. Like it has to sound good. You got one?
I don't know the
There's no
dancing
wrong answer, boys. There's no wrong answer.
lost pop. Like just get lost in the music. Like
Okay.
sometimes there's no rhyme or reason, but like dancing get lost pop.
No, go ahead.
No, you go. You go.
Well, okay, I need to ask a question. Is jazz funk already? I know that's a dance style. Is that a music genre?
Yeah.
Jazz funk? Okay, well then, never mind.
I was gonna say, what was I gonna say?
Euphoric?
Euphoric pop, or no, euphoric funk. That's what I was gonna say. Euphoric funk.
Yeah, I like the funk. I
Mhm.
want to, yeah.
Because our next couple, especially with Call My Name's a very like funky song. Like it's like funky modern in a way. So, and I think our next couple songs are like that too. So euphoric funk is what I would
I
say.
bet this is already a thing, but jazz hip hop. So instead of hip hop, it's
Oh.
I think Tyler the Creator already touched like into this, but like it's where you play like jazz in the background, but it's like a hip hop. You know, it's a hip hop song.
That's sick.
Hip hop song.
Hip
I love
hop.
jazz.
Hip
I like
hop.
that.
Hip hop.
I like that. No,
Boom.
it's good.
Okay.
You definitely have to accentuate like the P in pop, because otherwise it just sounds like you gotta like hip hop. Otherwise it just sounds like hip hop.
You gotta do like a gesture with it. Hip hop. Hip hop. Hip hop. Okay, okay.
Now you don't even have just a new genre title. You have a genre title that comes with a dance move. Which
Exactly.
again, more and more on brand we go.
I like that one.
Boom.
Jazz hip hop. That one's good. Good one.
Euphoric funk also has like an acoustic honesty kind of vibe to it, where it's like the words just sound good together. You know,
Cool.
all good thoughts, boys. All good thoughts. Even Utah dance pop, I will give credit to. We don't need to throw out the first ideas all the time. You know what I mean? Like give that one credit where credit is due.
Sometimes you
Origin stories. We're all about the origin stories here.
sometimes you get it right the first time.
Yeah.
and you should just stop after.
So is there a song that you've released that you think best embodies who you are as a group? Meaning like your one song sample, if you listen to this, you'll like the rest of the stuff. If you listen to this, you'll understand more about who we are. Like the one song that you kind of are like, trying to use to convince people to be a fan? Like, what's the one we're shouting out that we're going to draw the attention to?
Probably Transparency Dance Remix, right? I'm just kidding.
That was
No.
It's definitely not
It-
that.
it's
It's definitely Call My Name.
Definitely.
Definitely Call My Name, just because of the sound of it. It's very the direction we want to go in the future. And if you see the video, I feel like it's a perfect infomercial for what Full Circle wants to be, because as we said, we all grew up in dance, but we didn't just grow up in hip hop. And the style in the music video is very like theatrical hip hop. That's what I like to say. It's called, because it does take some technique, and it's very, I don't know. It's not like crump. It's something else. I really love the style. We drew a lot of inspiration from West Side Story. And yeah, it's great.
Yeah. I think when we all heard the song, we were all like, this is a great cornerstone to like build off of, you know? So I think we all like collectively like this is what Full Circle sounds like.
Yeah. Very high energy.
Yeah.
So would you say that, like, let's put our I know that you kind of you touched on the dance part of that and like the video and everything, but if we were just looking at it from the, hey, which of the songs, like the dance that goes with it, or even a part of the dance that goes with it, in that regard, is that still the song that you guys think best embodies Full Circle?
Yes. Yeah. It's like I don't even know how to describe it. I think all the other songs, it was like we had to choreograph to it. Like we're like, okay, we have to do this. With Call My Name, it just felt natural. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but like for me as a dancer, like if I'm forced to do something, it's not gonna be at its best. It'll still be good, but it's not its best. And I think Call My Name is the best choreo we've done.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, anything creative, it's like as soon as you're forcing it, you're losing some of the authenticity in it. You're losing some of the true passion for it. It's not going to come out the same way as when you just kind of fall into it and it just kind of happens. You know, it's that sort of motion and that sort of action that is what makes creative people want to pursue creative things, is that just kind of natural, this thing kind of just happened. You know, like this was just off the dome. This is how it came out. This is what happened. Just being able to execute kind of automatically. Whereas like, you know, there are portions of being creative that you kind of have to sit down and do the things and go through the motions just to kind of keep that muscle fresh and active and alive. But it's the more natural actions and that we take as creative people that, you know, are what make being creative worthwhile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So it's just kind of an added layer of like, this is one that was natural, and so it should be the one that kind of is, you know, if it's forced and it's you had to do it, like you said, like then it's just kind of like you're not going to feel as strongly about that, and it's probably not going to reflect as strongly of you guys. So all the points are kind of pointing in the same direction, which is good. That's what we want. Especially when you like more cooks in the kitchen, everybody's got to be on the same page. You know what I mean?
And there's moments when we're not on the same page, so we gotta like leave it for a couple days and then come back to it, and then somehow we're finally back on the same page. But Call My Name, we were always on the same page.
Yeah.
There was no, for Call My Name, it was just like putting butter on toast.
I haven't heard that one before, but
I just kind of said it, and I was like, I'm going with it.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. If you had to pick 2 or 3 artists that you think your music is like a combination of, who fits that bill?
Hmm.
Ooh. Definitely The Weeknd.
Yeah, I was gonna say The
Weeknd is. I've heard it a ton. People are like, "Oh, this kind of sounds like The Weeknd."
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say The Weeknd, Dua Lipa, and then I don't know who the third one would be. Some Timberlake undertones in there. Not as maybe more his like Trolls stuff, but not.
That Stroll stuff goes hard.
Troll stuff does go hard.
Wait, have you listened to Call My Name? That's the
I
real
have.
question.
I have.
Wait, can you tell us who we sound like?
Well, that'd be cheating. I don't answer the questions for you. I'm the one asking the questions. I don't create the answers. I gave you guys guidance already. You got your mulligan, you know, you had your moment. You got your free pass.
Okay.
We can do a.
We can do a. Guys. Come on.
Maybe One Direction. You know, throw some boy band in there.
No, I don't think it's anything
Okay.
like
Yeah.
One Direction.
Should we just say?
No.
Like,
Maybe Jungkook.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah.
Like kind of like Jungkooky.
Junk Cookie.
Because not necessarily Call My Name, but I feel like the next song is very standing next to you vibe.
I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
A little foreshadowing moment there. Is that what I'm hearing?
A little foreshadowing. It's not. I don't want people to be expecting
Yeah,
standing next to you.
no.
It's not exactly like standing next to you. It's just like kind of a vibe of it. But yeah.
Yeah.
So The Weeknd, Dua Lipa, Jungkook. What a crew!
What a crew.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, and it's always interesting because, you know, some people work off of what they've been told, some people work off of where they pull inspiration from. Like there's always somebody who's like in a somewhat different sphere from like their favorite artist when they were 12, and it's like we're somehow connecting those lines just because if that's what you like grow up listening to, that's, you know, it's going to be in there in some way, shape, or form. So it's always interesting, and it's why I don't give answers for you. I want to know what you guys think you sound like. I don't need to tell everybody out there what I think you sound like. That's for a different time.
True.
I want to know what you guys think you're doing.
True. Okay.
Sorry, I guess I should ask the questions and answer them too, right?
Yes.
True.
Exactly.
Okay, I'll take that note. I'll take that note. So I'm gonna ask a boy band question because you guys are my first boy band.
Hey,
Are
let's go.
there different, like, would you classify, or maybe this is something that, you know, you've been told, or this is something that's been internally decided. I don't know how it all works, but is there like different boy band archetypes that each of you kind of fall into?
All right, let's go down the list.
Well, I was just gonna say James is definitely the bad boy.
What? Absolutely not.
No, James isn't the bad boy at all. I don't think we.
You're the bad boy.
I'm not the bad
You're
boy.
the
I was gonna say if I had to take a guess, the bad boy is gonna be one of the two of you that have your hoods on.
Oh.
I would say yeah. I'd say
Yeah.
either one of us on any given day could be the bad boy.
Yeah,
It just depends on our mood, really.
that's true. I feel like I could be the bad boy, but
I think
I feel like there's not a bad boy.
the archetypes
No.
are kind of funny because it'll be
Yeah.
like the cool one, the nice one, the young one. Like it's like
The young
that's the
Yeah,
personality. Your
that's so
personality
funny.
is the fact
Oh,
that you're the
whatever.
The
youngest.
baby of the
I
group.
was all of those.
I think whenever people like, they don't necessarily ask us this, but like they just say like what you are in the band. Like I don't think we ever give the answer of the bad boy, the cool one. Like I usually say I'm the dad. That's usually what I say. I'm the dad.
Totally. And then James
Yeah.
is the mom. Who are you two?
The thinker.
The deep thinker.
Thought.
The thought.
We have our spices, you know.
Yeah, we do have. We did assign ourselves Spice Girl names.
Oh yeah, you want to hear
Okay,
those?
yeah, give me that.
So I'm Daddy Spice.
Okay.
He's Giddy Spice because
He's just always
he's always like
Yeah. Crazy
Giddy.
personality.
Sean's is probably my favorite. Thoughty Spice. Because
Don't explain it. Don't explain it.
Okay. All right, James.
Forgot what mine was.
James was
Mine?
Shy Spice.
Shy Spice. Okay, Shy Spice.
And then was mine like Little Spice or something?
It was we
Spice.
couldn't decide between Lil Spice or Baby Spice.
Yeah.
Lil.
What sounds more appealing?
Isn't there already a Baby Spice?
Well,
I don't-
when you said you guys assigned yourselves Spice Girl names, I thought you were telling me that you had like, based off of the actual Spice Girl names, which one of you was which, and then I heard Daddy Spice and I was like, okay, this is not what I was anticipating. So you started off strong with that one. If you would have started me over on the other end with Baby Spice, I probably would have bought into it first and foremost.
Go.
Okay. That was gonna be my second question is like have any of you individually been compared to any members of other boy bands or groups of that nature, like the Spice Girls or something like that? I was thinking more in the NSYNC realm versus the girl group realm, but you kind of beat me to it on that one.
I don't think any of us really get compared to
No.
anybody else in our creative team is always saying we got 5 Justin Timberlakes.
Yeah.
So like that's always.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is I posted a video of, do you know that one video of like, do it Timberlake? You know, where he's like beatboxing and everything? Oh.
No.
Well, anyway, it got like some views. It kind of blew up a little bit, and everybody's like, "Oh, you look just like him." But that was just because I dressed up in the bandana and everything. So.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, I don't think any of us really get compared to anybody.
Yeah.
I see a couple Nile comments.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
Nile from One Direction, but
Yeah.
I
I think there's only one Nile.
yeah.
True. Definitely.
Tell him, girl.
Boom.
So I've been doing this thing where I take a question from last week's guest for this week's guest. And the
Okay.
question from last week is, what aspects of your like regular life do you think influence you musically or creatively, I guess, the most? This can be individually, this can be as a group. I don't know how much time y'all spend together.
Every second.
Every
Yeah.
second.
Can you say that again? Can you?
Yeah. Just,
Yeah, what aspects of like non-music life basically influence your regular life the most? And like what is like the escape from the being the creative, what do you spend time when you're like escaping away from the music thing, and how or what of those things in normal life influence you musically, creatively, etc. the most?
Okay.
For a while there, we used to go to a like a country hoedown place.
That inspires your
Yeah,
music.
called Stampede, and I'm very particular with my music, and a lot of the time they're playing country music, which I rarely like, if any at all. And every once in a while they play a song I would like, and that inspires me to like I want to make music that people get excited to when it gets put on, and especially dance wise, because we grew up all in the dance world, like we keep on saying, like we had a lot of role models and we had people to look up to. So I just want to make music that everybody can enjoy, and if it comes on, they're happy to hear it, and it invokes a feeling. So
Okay.
I also like to go to the movies, but I don't think you can hear that in my music.
Oh. Us? Okay, me, Dawson, and Jagger saw this movie Piece by Piece, the Pharrell Williams Lego movie. Oh, and the music in that movie was so good. I've seen it twice now, And every time, like, when I went and saw it, I was just like, this is insane. The music was crazy good. So,
I think for me, because we spend a lot of time doing this, like rarely we're not doing something full circle related. And then like we'll go and take a dance class, which is like what our normal life used to be.
yeah.
Was just taking dance class, but it also ties into full circle, so I don't know if you can count taking a dance class as that. But I like to look through old photos a lot of like my old dance team and stuff like that, and it like that inspires me to write music. Like it can be happy because like the memories that we had, or like a memory will pop up of something that we all did together, and I can write about that experience, or I can talk about how sad I am that we're not all in touch like we used to be. So I think my old dance team and old dance studio inspire a lot of music. Like when I look at the old videos and photos of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to like. I think so. What you're saying is like when we're away from like this whole thing, like when we're not doing it, when we're doing that thing, how does it inspire? Like
Yeah,
good stuff?
what like life things like meaning not
Yeah.
like we'll call it non full circle things kind of impact you creatively, what what's the go-to for kind of taking that break, but also like what impacts that side of you.
It's simple, but I think it makes sense. So I mean, some nights I'll just go around. I bought a hoverboard off of Facebook Marketplace, and I'll just go hoverboard and I'll just listen to music. And I think like coming back after that, like when I listen to music and I hear a song that just like moves me, like it just makes me want to write music that makes people feel something, and that's like will make you whatever that is, happy or sad or whatever. Like it's like, dang, I love listening to music that makes me feel something. So if I can create something that makes someone feel something, then that's good.
I thought you were gonna say, I hear a song that I like and it makes me want to hoverboard.
No,
Oh.
hoverboard and listen to music. Just cruise around the neighborhood.
How many hoverboards did you buy? Because there was a little.
I bought 3 and 2 of them didn't work, so I had to throw them away. But I got a really good one now, so
James?
I don't know. That's a hard question because, like, we're rarely not doing something that's not full circle related. So
What about you working out?
working out.
He works out a lot. Like when we go to the movies, like, I just want to go work out. And he ditches us.
I mean, yeah. I don't know how that. I don't know. I feel like the dancing one was good because, like, we've been taking, but that's full circle related.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know what I will say? I love watching basketball, especially the Lakers. And I always love a really great national anthem. And I recently went to a Dodgers game and there was a great national anthem. And that inspired us to really hunker down on our national anthem in hopes of going to the Laker game or going to the Dodger game or any major sporting event to do like a 5-part boy band national anthem.
Yeah.
So I guess that was kind of like outside looking in, and now we practice national anthem every day. So
Dude.
thanks a lot, Sean.
Okay, I have one. I like to sew, and what I like to do when I sew is take. I like to recycle pieces, so I get like one pair of jeans and then another and combine it. Just make a whole different thing. So when I do that, I feel like it inspires me to take kind of inspiration from other music and kind of put them together. So I feel like that's a good one for me. Sewing.
Nice.
that's a hard one.
Yeah,
That's a-
it's
That's a hard one, yeah.
You coming out swinging.
Who asked
Yeah.
that? Said you took that from somebody last week. Who asked that?
It's that, but it's also kind of blended with a question that I usually ask, which is just straight up, what is an outside passion of yours that you feel impacts who you are as an artist? We kind of like, that's the question I usually ask right before the artist from last week asking a question to the artist from this week. Sometimes I skip it, sometimes I don't. Just try to jump around and change it up a little bit. But we were just talking about that, and so then we got to this point. He just kind of like spun it in a different kind of way.
Does that mean we get to make a question for next week?
Yes, you do get to make a question for next week.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Ooh.
Like, are we making it
Yes,
right now?
Right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's on the spot. You guys get to step into my shoes for a minute.
What
Oh.
idea?
So I'm thinking of starting a podcast myself. And it's going to be called Can't Stop, Won't Stop Pod.
Oh.
Okay.
And so, kind of the narrative and the main question that I was thinking about is everybody has their struggles and everybody has their low points. And if you keep on going, eventually you'll look back and be like, oh, that was a low point, and I didn't know that. And so I guess the question is like, what keeps you from stopping? Like,
Ooh.
in this realm of music and the entertainment
That's a good
industry, it's so easy. It's so much easier to do something else. So I guess that's the question. What keeps you from stopping?
Yeah, what drives you? That's
Yeah,
good.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's good,
Yeah,
Sean.
that is a good one. We'll get there in a minute, but I kind of touch on that in a different way, like in a like music lens. So just stay tuned. We'll be there in a couple questions. What is it that you think sets you apart from other independent music acts?
There's 5 of us.
Most definitely.
I don't know that sets you apart. I feel like the magic number for a boy band or just regular band might be 5.
It's definitely our.
We're gonna dig a little deeper than that.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's definitely our dancing and singing at the same time, and we love to entertain, and so that's one thing that we're always gonna do is try to entertain, because as dancers, like that's your whole goal is to entertain someone with what you're doing. So I think that's something that really separates us as artists.
Yes, I think, and the fact that we all grew up as dancers, because I feel like that is not something that is common. Yeah.
I feel like something different for like a 5-piece pop boy band group is a lot of the times there may be a few members at least that grew up like deep in the industry, whether it be like a Mickey Mouse Clubhouse deal or something where they're already in the spotlight. And I think for us, not to say we didn't do anything growing up, but like we were very much in the training mode. And so I think like we don't have those like big egos. I definitely think we're all talented, but I don't sit around and be like, oh my gosh, James, you're a star.
Yeah. We're
So-
always like, James, you suck.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we're all like rising up together, which is really cool.
James is incredible.
I was gonna say, because you said what sets us apart from other indie artists. I think to touch back on the dance thing some more, but in a different way. I think we hear music differently than other indie artists, because I think when I think of an indie artist, I just think of somebody who just plays on the guitar. Maybe that's just I don't know them. Maybe they did grow up as dancers, but I think like from the dance background, you have to hear certain beats. Like there's this, somebody told us the other day, they're like a lot of groups that dance and sing. They sing and dance to the melody. You guys are singing, but while dancing to the beats in the background. So I think that sets us apart from a lot of people, because our brain can separate the two, the beats and the lyrics and all that. Like we can hear it. We can hear both of them at the same time and do different things while doing it.
We also perform with our hearts on our sleeve. And not to say that's unique, but when we walk off the stage, whether or not it's a 5 minute performance or a 30-minute performance, we are like drenched in sweat.
Totally.
It's complete like exertion of energy. Recently, we've been doing like a lot of school shows and in connection with iHeartRadio, which has been awesome. And it's like we'll perform at lunch or perform earlier in the day, and for the rest of the day, it's just low energy. So I think it's we've performed at some smaller venues like in indie venues, and no matter what, it is a fiasco. Just five young guys jumping, running, and dancing all around the stage. It's something.
Totally.
No, I mean, I come from what you would call like the typical sort of indie thing. Like I grew up a musician and started writing music and just kind of fell into it, and that's how we are where we are today. But it's always interesting, and it kind of like reframes, and this is why I love doing these, is because I get to meet different groups, different individuals. Like I've covered almost every genre there is at this point. And it's always interesting to hear different perspective on what the music means to you guys, what the music is like for you, and how you kind of approach it and all that different stuff. And it's like multiple of you have touched on like music that impacts people in some way, shape, or form. And that's something that is kind of typically pretty universal, but the way that that looks is different for everybody. And like some people, it's, you know, it's your true singer songwriter, what you think of when you think of like stereotypical indie, like, you know, super emotional, like lyrics and connecting in this like deep kind of personal way, versus like, you know, I've had EDM people that I've talked to on here that are, it's more about that sort of energy, and kind of where you guys are at with the more dance driven stuff like that. Like that, all different kinds of music plays its own kind of role, and it has its own version of what impact looks like on its listeners and on its fans, and also on the people doing it. And so like, you know, it's when you think of music that really has this like powerful impact, you more often look to the more emotional, ballady, maybe acoustic, like more of your Noah Kahns than your like pop groups. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. But it's conversations like this that it's like, no, it's like that's impact in its own way, but so is this. And this is just as the other side of it. Like it's just as important to have these more, you know, this kind of impact versus that kind of impact. Like it's all basically what I'm trying to get at in a long-winded kind of way is to say that all music has its place and its role, and what you guys are doing is just as important, as impactful as what the singer-songwriters with just them and guitars are doing versus what rock bands are doing versus what rappers are doing, and all like it all just is the same at some level because it's all impactful, but it's all these different ways of telling those stories and all these different ways of having that personal connection.
Amen.
Exactly.
Totally.
That was good. That was good.
Thank you. I'm glad I finally got to my point because there was a few different things and I was like, I got to connect the wires here somewhere in my head. But we got there. We got there. We've gotten there a little bit, but it's one of my favorite questions. So we'll run through it again. What impact do you want to have with your music, with your artistry as a group? What impression do you want to leave? All that good stuff. I know we've kind of gotten to it, but I want to hear it again.
I feel like we're missing some pop kings right now. There's a lot of pop girlies that are doing some really great stuff, and we're the guys. So,
Yeah, we're here.
The impact that I want to have on people is just to make people realize that there's a lot to be happy for. And that when they hear our music, that's a reason why they can be happy. You know, something that'll make them feel good.
Mm-hmm. I honestly just want to make people happy because I know for me, when I listen to music, I use it kind of as an escape, and being in that kind of escape, um, yeah, I just want to be happy.
Yeah. I want to inspire people to be creative because I feel like I'm most creative when I hear a good song. I just want to inspire people with our music. Yeah, basically it.
I think um, Dawson and James kind of touched on they just want people to be happy and feel good while listening to our music. And I want that too, but not just happiness. Like I just want them to feel something. I guess whether because we make a lot of upbeat music, but what I was trying to say, I want them to be able to relate to it. I want them to find something within the song that they relate to. And even though we make these like poppy songs that are like on surface level not that deep, I hope that like at least some of the lyrics resonate with them and they're like, "Oh, I feel that." Like or like I've experienced something like that. Like our next two songs are very poppy, and for me when I heard them I was like, "Oh, I can relate to that lyric or that part," or like the not our next single but the single after it. That was the most fun I've had recording a song ever, and I felt like I really related to the lyrics, which sounds so silly because it's such a poppy song and on the surface level it's upbeat, but yeah, I just want people to be able to find something that they relate to in our music and take it to a deeper level and mean something to them because it doesn't need to mean the same thing to somebody as it means to me. It can be whatever they need that song to be for them, and that's what I want our music to be.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, art is open to interpretation, and it's the impact in itself and the value of that thing in itself that is more important than, oh, you understood this part of it, but I thought about it this way. Like that, it's semantics at that point. You got something from it, I got something from it. We're good. The goal was accomplished. Like that's because everything's like based on people's different experiences. People are going to take different lyrics different ways and different stories different ways, and it's everybody's got their own sort of perspective on it, and it's just like all five of you could have completely different takes on your own songs, and that's totally fine. But the fact that there is that connection, that impact, that takeaway and understanding and resonation is what really matters and what really counts.
Yeah.
Totally. Mm-hmm.
I think that brings us to the final question, which is ultimately the concept behind the podcast, which is why music?
Why not music?
Because I say why music because it makes me nervous. And I'm usually a pretty secure person, but it's less and less now. But every time I perform, there's always the butterflies in the stomach.
Yeah.
There's always I feel like there's so many questions with music. There's not really a path. And I think that I owe it to myself to keep on going down the path, Don't give up just because you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. I say music because music is life. There's sound everywhere. And all it takes is just a couple sounds to create music. So music is life. So that's why I say music.
Yeah.
For me, I grew up I had a very like structured lifestyle, and I feel like being in this music industry, there isn't a lot of structure, and I like it.
I would say music just because I feel like ever since I was little, I just loved music. It's something so different. It's so unique, and there's not a right way to do it, Like no matter what, creatively, you're gonna make something, and it's gonna be good or bad to somebody. It's just whether or not you love it. If that makes sense.
For me, I'd say it not just music for like not just music wise, but like because like we've been saying this entire interview, we grew up as dancers. I did theater in high school as well. I like have sang most of my life. I've danced most of my life. So not necessarily just music, but entertainment wise is why I do it. I like to entertain. I like to perform. And there's a quote that says, "You'd be no good to anybody if you didn't do what you loved." And so I wanted the rest of my life to do the things I love most, which is singing, dancing, and performing. And yeah, why be miserable when I could be happy doing what I love?
Totally. Heck yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what it's all about is like I'm a big whatever it is, follow the passion advocate. Like it's like what do you have to lose? Like give that thing a shot, give that thing its effort, let it be whatever it's going to be and just do the thing cuz better to try and fail than to not try at all. Cuz then it's just a what if. And nobody wants a what if. You want a this did or did not work out for XYZ reasons, or I did or did not take it as far as whatever for whatever reasons. But if you don't try, you never know what could happen.
Never know until you try.
Exactly.
Exactly.
On that note, I think that brings us to the end of the Why Music podcast. You can check back again next week for another conversation with another independent artist. Thank you for listening.